Hey guys, Nicholas Prasakis, Chelsea Football Channel, and today I've decided to do a little video, basically eclipsing or going over all of the Chelsea signings and outgoings and loans this summer. I feel like it's good that we rank these guys based off of how productive we think they're going to be, how good of a signings I'll think for the future, and based off of where I think they'll be, and we're going to rank them based off of letter ratings and based off of quality. So let's hop straight into it. First signing Aaron Anselmino, center back from I think Boca Juniors in Argentina. I mean, not a lot to think about this one. I think this one is basically a deal that he's got a chance. I think he's up there with a few guys we'll talk about later in this video. Um, but I think Anselmino's a B. I think it's a signing that it's like 16 million pounds. I think it's not too expensive of a deal. It's a deal where you're looking at it and you're like, I think this guy has a chance. He could progress well. It's a cheap fee. Hopefully with the loan back to Argentina, he'll be able to progress more and get more game time. And then when he comes back to London, he'll be able to show his ability to the head coach. And I mean, worst comes to worst, I think he'll probably go out on loan to Strasbourg, which is a really good guarantee. But he's gonna have time to give us time to progress. And I think that's all you need out of a player. Um, Ian Matson, a big guy we talked about early in the window. We all thought after his run with Dortmund that he was going to have a chance to come back into the first team. He didn't want it, understandably so. His father as well, I don't think wanted him to. I think it's a C. The reason why is it'll be including in a conversation with another player we have later. Um, I feel as though this deal could have been a bit better, especially with a rival in the league doesn't make it much better. Um, Obviously going to Aston Villa, I think it makes it so you're improving a rival. Of course, I haven't seen much from Ian Matson so far this season, so I'm not 100% certain what to think about him yet. But I think it's not the greatest deal by trying to improve a rival, and you're basically only getting 20 million from him because of something we'll describe later on. So I think right now I'm fine with this C. I think it's middle of the pack. You're getting rid of a guy who didn't want to play for you, so you're able to get some kind of money. So I think it's an okay deal. Mark Guiu, I think, is an A. It's a £6 million deal. This is pennies to a team like Chelsea. This is pennies to most teams in the Premier League. I mean, the fact that they bought his release clause for nothing and he's already played games for us, he's already looked pretty promising. He's got the potential. You could see it. It's there. It's there. It's guaranteed 100% there. But it's about if he can put it all together. And well, so far his press and overall ability, he wants to get the fans to love him. Those are things you can't take away from a player. If you can get that finishing there, I think he'll be an excellent player. So Martin Guiu, I think, is an A, the first upper of the echelon of the signings you have. Omari Hutchison. Now we signed him from Arsenal for pennies, and we come out with a massive profit. I think this is another A. We sold him to Ipswich Town for a massive profit. 23.5 million. It wasn't 23.5 million total the profit for Omari Hutchison. I thought he was going to be used a lot more than, you know, they just immediately sold him basically at the beginning of the window. I didn't think it was going to happen that way, but it did. Am I a little upset? Not really, to be honest. But 23.5 million is a great price for a young player. And I think to sell him to a team, where he's going to get playing time is all he needed. And I think that's, a great way to put it. So I think that's an A, and I think it's our second good deal. I think that, the amount of money we raised for him is fantastic, especially with how much we paid. Lukaku S. I mean, this is an immediate S. You want to get this guy out of the team as much as possible. The amount we got for him is excellent. We got 25 million up front, but there's add-ons that push it all the way to 40. The fact that we were able to get 40 million for him is, I think, ridiculous. Of course, they had like that um verbally agreed fee for 37 million euros, I think it was. They didn't get that up front, but they got more than it total. I think that was basically the reason behind it. Of course, he has to hit certain things to hit that, but it's whatever. Easily an S tier player or an S tier sale. Caleb Wiley, the left back from Atlanta United. Um, for me from the US, I sometimes watch MLS games, but I didn't watch much of Caleb Wiley in Atlanta. I've heard he's good, but this is another one of those Aaron Anselmino deals. It's like 10 million bucks 10 million pounds for a guy who's, you know, on yet proven. I think he's 18 or 19 years old. He's at Strasbourg as well. He's already got an assist for Strasbourg, so he's already proving himself. He's already started, I think, all three of their games in Ligue 1. You know, I think it's a very good deal. You know, in a way, I think it's almost like someone we'll talk about also later. You know, we're just going to sell him on for profit. If we can, maybe this guy, these two guys, Anselmino and Caleb Wiley are two guys that I don't know if they'll ever play games for Chelsea, ever in their career. But what I do know is that if with the right loans and enough playing time, they'll progress as players, and they'll most definitely be able to be sold on for a profit. So I think that's why Caleb Wiley also fits in that B tier. Philip Jorgensen, we haven't seen much out of him yet. And what we've seen has been okay. The first game in the Servette game, the game we saw of him in Club America, I think he played in that one. Not sure. It was one of those two games, I think, or something. He played in one of the games in the preseason and stuff or whatever. And well, the first Servette game, fantastic stuff. Second Servette game, not greatest. Young goalkeeper, a lot of potential. I think it also fits in this B tier column. I think this summer we really needed to find a player at that goalie position who was ready to take the starting goalkeeper spot. I'm obviously still not sold. Chelsea fans are not sold by Robert Sanchez right now. So I think that's why we're not sold on Philip Jorgensen. Of course, we love his potential. We love the fact that he might turn into a good goalkeeper. But the fact that right now we have absolutely no idea if he's going to be that guy and we're basing it off potential is just not enough for me to put it any higher. 22.5 million or whatever it was. It's a fee that we're gonna have to wait on. Amari Kellyman, this is what I was talking about. He's in the Prem too. He is a young player who will not, be getting any game time. I don't think this season. He just got injured and he's out for 2 months. And he was involved in the deal for Ian Matson. And this is why I said that he takes the 20 million away. Ian Watson's deal was like 44 million or something. We paid like 20 million for Amari Kellyman. We paid like 20 million technically for Omari Kellyman. That's why it was basically for all per PSR rules. That's the reason this deal was that much. We basically swapped players and we brought in Omari Kellyman for Ian Matson, basically. It's a ridiculous deal because Omari Kellyman it was worth 1 million on Transfermarkt and we paid 20 million for him. That's insanity, bro. It's incredible. He's playing Prem 2 role right now. He's looked actually very good in the Prem 2. Looks like a great player, but the problem is like you don't pay 20 million for guys who've never played professional games before like that. Like you don't do it. So I don't see a way that we should have paid Omari Kellyman that much money. He's 18 years old. He's a very young guy, but he's got to stay healthy. And I feel like this is a deal where I'm uncertain. And I just don't think it was worth spending 20 million on a player like him. Ronaldo Vega, I think this is another A tier deal. A player who's getting regular playing time or squad player playing time. 8 million pounds, I'm almost certain the deal was for, or something around that number. And he's a regular starter. He's a what do they call him? The Swiss Army knife player. So he can play multiple positions, left back, left center back, and the defensive midfielder. 3 overall positions. That's really good stuff from a player of his quality. So it's very incredible to see his where how much he'll do for us. I think he'll be a great Swiss Army knife player in this Maresca system. I don't see a way that honestly this deal could fail. I love his energy, I love his passion, and from whatever he seems like he's going to be an incredible Chelsea player. So hopefully he'll be able to fill in maybe as a rotational center back. I think this season he'll stay as a left back and an invert, and he'll get a lot of Conference League playing time and Cup playing time. So that's what I'm happy about. Um, we've got Conor Gallagher. This, in my opinion, could hover between C and D. Where do I think though it's going to be? Hmm. I'm gonna say it's a C. I'm gonna say it's a C and not a D because of the fact that Conor Gallagher may or may not have been able to sign a new contract before he left Chelsea at the end of the season. Of course, as we know, he had 1 year left on his contract, and if he didn't re-sign, he was gonna be gone. He rejected contracts, so you weren't even sure if he was ever gonna re-sign a new contract. He wanted a long-term deal. Chelsea didn't want to give him a long-term deal. You find a profit out of it. So I don't think this is the worst deal in the world. I don't think it is. Um, of course, there were other ways of handling this deal, but I don't think that the way we handled it was horrible. Maybe pushing him out of the club, of course, the way we did it was horrific. But I think that getting as much money as he did for a year left on his contract was pretty good. And then, including a player later, basically, also going away across is also a good way to look at it as well. So I don't think it's the worst deal in the world, but I would have loved to keep him instead of a player we'll talk about in just a second. Lewis Hall, it's a lot of money for Lewis Hall, but do I think that we should have kept him? I think yes. I think it's another C. I think that Lewis Hall, the price fantastic for a young player who literally had never even played games for Chelsea. 28 million pounds, I think, was the overall price. And this is a guy who's getting now some somewhat regular playing time at Newcastle, a team that, is coming on the come up as well after they had successful Champions League and barely missed out on Europe last season. So I think he'll get a lot of playing time, and I think he's going to turn into a great player. And I think in this Enzo Maresca system, he's a player who played in midfield in the academy. So I mean, I was a little shocked that they sold him in the first place, but I wasn't really shocked after I saw the price. But I'm very happy with the money aspect, but not the player sale aspect. So I think that this is a mid-tier deal because I think he would have been useful in this system, but the price we got for him was fair. I think right now, from what I've seen, the Kieran Dewsbury Hall deal is a D. I've seen almost nothing at Kieran Dewsbury Hall that suspects it to be a C. I would have much rather had Conor Gallagher in this system than Kieran Dewsbury Hall. We saw last season what Connor can do in like a broken apart team. He almost had, I think, 12 goal contributions. Of course, Dewsbury Hall had like 20 something, but Gallagher, if you replaced them both, Gallagher would have had the same numbers. Kieran Dewsbury Hall is the Connor Gallagher replacement for, I think, 5 or 6 less million pounds. That is incredible because they are nowhere near the same value. Connor is so high above this guy. It's incredible. I don't know where Kieran Dewsbury Hall even play as a normal basis in this team. Like he's a rotational player. He's around with Ronaldo Vega. He's a sub at best. Like he's gonna come in off the bench in like the 75th minute or 80th minute, and he's gonna play for guys who are tired. And that's it. So I'm not a big fan of this deal as I've seen right now. I haven't liked what I've seen so far, and especially that Servette game, not the greatest. Pedro Neto, S. This guy, it was an incredible deal from Chelsea. It came out of nowhere. I was getting out of bed and I remember looking at my phone and seeing Pedro Neto to Chelsea. Here we go. And I'm like, here we go. Where did it come from? We didn't have any idea that even Neto was going to Chelsea in the first place. They locked this deal under the basement, dude. It was we had no clue. There was no one talking about it. Fabrizio had no idea about it. Like when Fabrizio doesn't know a deal is happening, then how does anybody gonna know a deal is happening? So it's an incredible deal from Chelsea to get this deal done without any other teams even coming close. Of course, I think at the very end, teams like City tried to come in, but the deal had already been basically completed. So it's excellent from Chelsea. And he looks like to be a really good left winger if he can stay healthy. You've already seen the runs he can make, especially that one against his former team in Wolves. That run down the left hand side to assist João Felix was incredible. Yeah, but very, very good stuff. I'm very happy with the deal, and I think he'll be a great player for us. Tosin Abiello, I think it's a B. I think that the fee aspect is great. The fee is awesome. Great looking player. He's tall. He can pass well. But is it what I want out of a center back? I mean, yeah, but is he the center back I want? I don't know. I think we could have definitely bought a better quality of center back this window. I think we needed another quality center back to rotate with Wesley and Levi, but I think that's what they want. They want Wesley and Levi to play as much as playing time as possible, which I understand completely. You want to build a chemistry with the two guys, but at the same time, I think you also need a guy who can rotate just in case. And I don't know if Tosin's that guy yet. Of course, he's looked good in some of the Servette games. He looked good in some of the preseason games, but um, I'm not sure if it's enough. What gets this easily could be an A just because of the transfer fee alone being a free transfer, and all you have to do is hand out a wage to him. So, but I'm going to keep it at B for now. I think I'd like to see more out of him for the remainder of the season. João Felix, it's a transfer because of the potential and technically the fee. Of course, there was Atletico Madrid paid like 120 million euros for this guy. We pay like 65, 70 million less. We pay 50 million, but if you're taking the Conor Gallagher deal price out of it, it's like 15 million, technically all we're paying for João Felix. So it's a very, very excellent deal. A guy who's already played here, so he knows the system somewhat. So I'm very happy with this transfer. Do I think that he was a necessity? No, I don't think he was a necessity, but you're trying to build depth and build quality. I think that this is a deal that builds depth and quality. And I think the fact he could play basically across the front four, the left, middle, right, and up top as a false nine, I think adds a lot of value to a team. And I think he adds a lot of value to us as a player. So I think I'm very happy with him as an A. Esteval Willian is an S. There's no question. This guy is unbelievable. The other day, I think a few weeks ago or a week ago, he scored, I think, had 3 assists and 2 goals or something. He's 17 years old, man. That's incredible. Like, dude, I'm 20. And this guy is scoring set as a 17 and assisting as well as he is in the top flight of Brazil for one of the better teams in Palmeiras. Holy crap, dude. He's incredible. There's nothing about it. It's insane. Of course, insanely expensive deal in hindsight. It's I think 30 million pounds up front and like 20 something million in add-ons. It's a very expensive deal, especially for a 17-year-old. Of course, the only 17-year-old and stuff we've really only seen that from is the deal for I think Endrick too, but it is the only one that's expensive. Willian, of course, or Esteban Willian was more expensive, but yeah, it's an incredible player, incredible signing. We'll see how he fits into the team next season, but we got high hopes. I have high hopes for this guy, and I'm really hoping he turns into the next big thing. Angelo Gabriel, of course, he signed here last season, but he was just sold to Al Nassr. So we earn a $6 to $7 million profit on him. Um, a player who back in when we signed him had no idea who he was outside of FM. If you play FM on computer, Xbox, maybe you would have signed this guy before he went to Chelsea. But this is a business deal. And you're earning a profit on a player who never, ever is going to play a game for Chelsea unless he signs back, unless there's a buyback option or something. But I doubt it. We earned, I think it was a 6 or 7 million profit for a player who played only for our loan team, Strasbourg, for a year before he got injured. Looks pretty like an excellent winger, but the problem is like where is he going to fit in with this team? He's not gonna. So he gets sold for a profit immediately. It's excellent working and dealing from the from you know from this overall standpoint and how the team works now. You sign some young players who may never play for us, and they get sold. It's immediate profit. You're buying to sell. And that's how it's basically worked for some of these players. And Angelo Gabriel is basically the first tester of how this has worked out. Leslie Ojukwu, I think that this is another A. I think that he's going to get regular game time for a team in the Premier League. I think I actually really like this guy. I think that it was between him and Andre Santos, a guy we'll talk about in a little bit, that were up for grabs for getting that last position in the midfield for the team. Because I didn't even believe that we needed to sign a midfielder. I didn't believe we needed to sign Kieran Dewsbury Hall. And we're starting to see that now. But Leslie Igochukwu, he scored 2 goals in preseason. He looked good in preseason when he came on, especially in that Inter game, in that 10-minute cameo. But the thing is, he's going to get guaranteed playing time basically at Southampton. He played in their cup game, and he looked great. He's going to play throughout the season for them. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to do for Southampton this season. I think he's an excellent player with excellent talent. Of course, we spent almost 25 million, I think, on Leslie Igochukwu, and I think there's a good chance that he has an actual shot to play for Chelsea next season. So I think this is a very good piece of business and a very good loan spell. Broja to Everton. I think this is B. I just don't think Broja is ever going to turn into anything. Especially at this, it's harsh to say, but I think that injury, the ACL injury, harshly affected his career. And his career is dwindling right now. It's hard to say. He's only 22 or 23 years old, I think. Or maybe he might be older than that, might be 24 now. But he's at the point where his career is up for grabs, and teams are basically just looking at this guy like, are you there? Are you still there? You got to knock on that door. You got to tell him you're still there. And Broja went going on loan to Everton. Of course, his loan spell at Fulham went horrifically bad. We got a loan fee because he wasn't playing. So he's going to Everton. They have a 30 million euro, I think, or 30 million pound buy option, which they could trigger. They're not gonna. Everton are gonna get relegated and they have no funds. So this is an immediate deal that he's coming back to Chelsea next season because he's not gonna get bought. So another team would have to come in for him. There's a good chance that he'll be gone next season. I think it's a good loan spell, and he has a chance to get a lot of playing time, but I don't think it's a deal that goes higher than that for the reason being that there's no way that he'll get bought and he'll be leaving. He was going to get guaranteed bought, in my opinion, I think that this could be an A. Alfie Gilchrist, this is an amazing loan spell for him. He's played a lot of games for Sheffield United already this season in the championship. And, I think that this is the perfect move. I mean, you already saw that a lot of championship. He played well in some of his cameos in the Premier League last season when he had to makeshift start at right back, when he had to start at center back. He did well. I mean, he even scored a goal against Everton. It was an excellent goal too, man. He connected so well with that shot. But getting us back to the point, I think that this is a good move in the loan spell for in the championship. He's played well with a good. He's playing on a good team in the championship, so it's a good move. It's not an insane amount of pressure to perform well. It's to show that the club you've played for your entire life, is giving you a chance to at least give yourself a loan before you maybe have a chance to come back on the starting lineup. And I think that because if he plays well, there's a really good chance that he could be a rotational piece for our team next season. So it's gonna be a tough one, but I don't think that Gilchrist is very far away, especially from what we saw last season. Sterling, this is just it's it's a D. It's another deal where I'm not happy with it. Oh well, actually, I probably should put some of these players in loan, right? You know what? I'm actually going to delete the loan one because it doesn't make much sense. I can basically just explain how these players' deals went anyway. I think it's just fair to do like that. So of course, Raheem Sterling went on loan to Arsenal, our arch nemesis, our rival, and I am just, I don't like the idea of maybe improving a team in your division, especially when it's a team that you don't want to send any players to, especially when they could revitalize their career. Of course, I don't think that Kai Havertz is anything too spectacular. I think that he's a merchant, who scores, who fits a system. I think that, he's under a good player, he's under a good system. I think that the management does well handling him, but he's not spectacular. I don't think he's anything too great. Raheem Sterling is not anything spectacular either. Of course, I'm saying this based off a person who wanted Raheem Sterling to go in the first place. So I'm just thinking based off of Chelsea players who've left to go to Arsenal in recent years. And well, Jorginho, another player who's looked pretty okay, but he's past it now. It was a good deal at hindsight for us, but he turned into a good player for Arsenal. But Raheem Sterling is a player who's going on loan there for a year, no fee. They're paying like half his wage. We're paying the other half, and he's going to be back here next season. So we're going to have to find a move for him next season. And well, I think that this is an easily a one where Raheem will either do nothing, sit on the bench, do nothing, or he'll play well and he'll revitalize his career. Of course, that'd be the best thing for us in a way. We don't want to see Arsenal win a trophy, but we'd like to see Raheem Sterling play well to the point where we could sell him. And maybe Arsenal would come back in for an offer for him. It's as simple as that. But I don't like the handling of this deal. I thought that, I don't like Raheem Sterling as a player anymore. I'd like to see, I didn't like the way he handled not playing as well in that first game of the season. Horrific. Um, I would love to see though, him leave next season. I think that'd be best for him as a player too. But I didn't like the way they waited last second to do this deal. Of course, with that wage, it's got to be really hard to do. But gotta think a little bit better. Moreira, I think this is a B deal. They have a buyback option on him. If they want to buy him back to Chelsea, I think that he's getting pretty good game time right now at Strasbourg. Will he play well at Strasbourg? We don't know yet. But he's definitely a player who we have high hopes for still. I wasn't a huge fan of him, but a lot of players say they love him. Of course, Renato Vega said that was his best friend before he left. Now he doesn't have his best friend anymore. They probably still keep up, of course, but he's not at Chelsea anymore. So, I mean, you gotta look at that. I think that Moreira deal, it's a profit. I think they said that we got 2 million for him and that was it. Which, I mean, what are you gonna get for a guy who's only played academy football and then all these loan spells that do nothing for him. He got brought back and did nothing. So I think that getting some kind of money for him and then maybe buying him back if he does well is a good business. In a way, we're buying him back from ourselves. So Trevo Chalobah, this is another D. I mean, it's a deal that shouldn't even happen in the first place. The fact is he should still be a Chelsea player. He should get consistent game time, if not squad player playing time. Instead, we have Axel Disaster and Benoit Badiashite. Simple as that. No, I'm being all seriousness is we have to be on the players. We have to be for real. And I have all the expectations I want to, in my brain for what I think out of the players. But I think Trevoh Chalobah is better than Benoit Badiashile and Axel Disasi. It's as simple as that. I think he's better than both of them, and I think he can play right back and center back. Better than Axel Disasi or Benoit Badiashile, even though Benoit Badiashile doesn't play right back or anything. But simple as this. Trevoh Chalobah should be the third string center back behind Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill. As simple as that. And you know what's crazy? Reece James won't be playing on our next game probably. Now Augusto won't be playing on the game, so that means Axel Disasi is going to be playing right back for us probably on that game on the 14th against Bournemouth instead of a guy who played it at the end of last season because he had to and played it pretty well. So now we have no guy there except Axel Disasi, and it's going to look like torture. Remember what happened last time Disasi played right back? Do you remember? Yeah, he scored an own goal in the FA Cup. Moving on. Andre Santos back to Strasbourg. It's been a great loan move. I mean, he was excellent there in the second half of last season. He has 2 goals to start Strasbourg this season. It easily could be an A, but I would like to see him take another step up. Of course, he went on loan to Nottingham Forest for the first time in his career at Chelsea, but it didn't work out because they didn't play him. So he went on loan to Strasbourg. He was great. He's great again. But I would have liked to see him like Leslie Ugochukwu, get him a move to another team in the Prem or another higher based team and get more actual playing time. Instead, he's going back to Ligue 1. So I don't know what to think about this deal. I think it's okay that he's going back to loan to Strasbourg and playing well, but I would have preferred a better loan. Petrovic, I think it's a C. If you were gonna do anything loan wise or selling him, I think I would have loved to see him loan to a better team. If you were to sell him, I would have liked to get some kind of profit for him. I don't like the loan to Strasbourg. I just think it's too much. Like he's saying himself, it's too much of a step down in play. And well, I think that he at this point would be better than Sanchez and Philip Jorgensen, so he even could be the starter. Kepa, right now, I want to put this as an S. I want to put it as an S, but he's not gone yet. He's not gone yet. So what can I say about that? Is it an A or an S? I think it's an A for the reason being that I think that to get him out of the club is what you want. I don't know how much of the contract Bournemouth are paying, but you've got him out of the club for a year. That's what's good. That's what's good. But now you need to see whether or not he's going to play okay enough or play enough games to the point where, maybe you'll get a fee for him at the end of a contract. Because if you get consistent game time in the Prem, teams are going to want to buy you. So hopefully Kepa plays well enough to the point where some team buys him. Bashir Humphreys, this is a pretty good bit of business. Burnley bought him or they brought him on a loan deal, Burnley, but I think it's a mandatory optional fee to buy him for like 14 or 15 million. So it's a pretty good amount of business. It's pure profit on the market. I think it's an A. This another guy who is never going to get playing time probably here at Chelsea, even though I think Bashir Humphreys had a chance. Um, Even though, yeah, like I said, I think he had a chance to get game time for us. Maybe not this season. I think another loan move would have been the right thing to do for him. But in a way, I see the reason they've basically gone ahead and almost sold him. So I think it's fair enough to let him start his career. Only 21 years old, I think. So let him cook. Gaga Solina, easily a deal where this is going to work out to benefit him. The more game time he gets at Barnsley, which he's been outstanding so far out Barnsley. Of course, they beat, I think, Sheffield United in the FA Cup or whatever it was. So insane start for Gagosolina, and he's been incredible to start their season. Um, Easily a guy who could maybe work his way into the lineup. Of course, he's going to have to prove himself in the League One play with Barnsley, but this is a deal that easily could shoot him up the massive goalie table. And I've also just remembered one more player that Mike Penders, the goalie we signed from Belgium from Genk. I think he would also fit in the B category. They label him a wonder kid goalie. What do I even know at this point? He could be good. He's supposed to be a tank, 6'7". I'm pretty sure. So I'd put him in the B tier. I think he fits in basically some kind of like he fits in like their economic project where they basically buy to sell. Those are all the players I could think of right now. Let me know what you guys think. Any other changes you guys would make? Any different rankings you guys would make? I think that this is a pretty fair list. I don't think that I I don't think I left anybody off. I don't think that there's any more additions to be, and I think it's everybody. Either way, I think it's a pretty straightforward list. I don't think there's any different rankings I would make. I can't see a reason to change my mind on some of these deals. But thank you very much. Tell me what you guys think. See you in the next one. Peace.